I always get asked, what is it about Eve that, what is it about Villanelle? They can't get away from each other. And it's not something I've always been able to like put my finger on, but there is such an acceptance with Eve that she has towards Villanelle that she doesn't get from anybody else.
Fiona, you have an amazing scene in this series where you're sitting in a Mercedes listening to classical music and basically say you're fine because you've got your sandwiches. You're neither at work nor at home because you can't go to work, and home is not the place for Carolyn, even though we see Carolyn at home all the time. Do you have sympathy for the way that Carolyn deals with grief and extreme emotion?
I do. I think she's, as Suzanne's saying, I mean, they're all the building up of these characters, which has taken 3 seasons. They're all victims of their own past, and Carolyn is absolutely a person who would never normally show any emotion at all. And the one vulnerable area she has was Kenny, and she knew it. She knew that was her vulnerable area. But it doesn't mean that she has direct access to weeping and wailing, because people don't, if they haven't done it all their lives.
Well, yes, and the contrast between her and Geraldine's make that very clear.
Yes, I mean, it's not that she chooses not to mourn, but I mean, all of us lose people in our families, and it causes great strife within families, actually, how people mourn people. Everybody does it their own way. And I know that in my family, when we've lost, you wish so-and-so would be more emotional and that so-and-so is less emotional. But of course, everyone's having exactly the same experience. It's just some people are having it inside their hearts and some people are having it in their tear ducts. But yeah. Carolyn is somebody who'd have it inside, I think.
Inside her hearts. Okay.
I also didn't know what Suzanne was up to. I didn't know how far Suzanne was going to take the story. That's the other truth of it.
So does it mean, when you're filming, presumably you've seen all the script though, when you're filming, or are they keeping bits back?
But of course they change it.
How tricky of them.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Suzanne. You can't really tell, but I'm looking at you.
Yeah, Suzanne.
Well, we don't change it on purpose necessarily, but yeah, the scripts come out as we're shooting, so it's sort of, but there is that you are as we're going.
That's the nature of television. You know what I mean? Which presents its challenges as well its benefits, because there's an immediacy that can come with the writing that you can't necessarily. You can't have to do that in a play, but that is the nature of it.
Yeah. So you're not quite sure what's going to happen. Okay, look, so I need to talk to you, Jodie and Sandra, about the final scene. I've got to talk about that. Okay. So we have a kind of epic final episode. Sorry, if you want to go la la la, go la la la. But the very final moment on the bridge, when they turn and walk away, there is an acknowledgement, I think, from Eve that she has moved away from, the quote is that, I used to want to be like that, have the family like the house, the chicken, and into another area. And there seems to be an acknowledgement with Villanelle, who has been in that other area very extremely, that she's not sure what's going to happen with that either. So they're coming closer, and yet they turn and walk away. Would you say that was an accurate analysis?
If I can just speak to it, I'm going to disagree with the first analysis of Eve, because she's actually not saying that she's walking away from her family, from the life and the chickens and what it is. She's saying that she is reflecting on a life that she used to have, that she understands now she can never have again. It's actually Villanelle who comes in with the question, is that really what you want? Yeah. And Eve actually doesn't necessarily answer, but what you can tell is that she understands she cannot have that life again.
Yeah, it's gone too far.
So it's gone too far. and the person who she has left really is Villanelle.
Yeah.
You know, and that's actually such a wonderful change. And you know, one of the real joys, I'd say, Jode, working with you, and I hope you feel the same way, is I feel Jodie and I find so much stuff in the immediacy of playing with each other, like so much stuff that with all, let's say, script work that you can do, or the analysis or the talking that you can do, there's something that I feel does happen between us when we're inhabiting these characters. And so even with that, it's how we are subtly playing with each other, and the discovery between the characters that for something as, I think, philosophical and such a deep change in from the very beginning of, let's say, series 1 for Eve, that she had no idea that this is the journey that she was going to go on. But this moment on the bridge, which is so beautiful, being on a bridge over water halfway, you know, where we walk halfway apart, you know, is the fact that she realizes that she can never go back to that same life. And how she has had a complete hand in that journey. She has a complete hand in the violence, in the change, in the destruction that she has been a part of and has inflicted.
Yeah, she's not a kind of passive person. She is active within it.
She understands she is now.
And what about Villanelle? Because Villanelle says there is a way to walk away. I mean, she does, doesn't she, Jodie?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like she's learned so much this season, and I think actually a huge turning point and moment for me was the ballroom scene. Just before the final scene. Like I realized so much within shooting that. You know, I always get asked, what is it about Eve that, you know, what is it about Villanelle, they can't get away from each other? And it's not something I've always been able to like put my finger on, but there is such an acceptance with Eve that she has towards Villanelle that she doesn't get from anybody else. And I feel like that final episode just proves and shows the trajectory and the journey that these women have been on together. You know, how we see them interact in season 1 is just totally different now, and so transformative to how they are now. And I think the embrace, the stillness, the acceptance that she feels from Eve within that scene, I think Eve matures her in many ways, in a sense of, you know, when you think about season 2, when she's like, Villanelle's like, you're mine, you know, Eve's like a possession to her, and then you see this finale, and she's almost like, let it go, let's let it go, we walk away, it's this easy, like see what happens. I think it's so interesting, and I thought it felt very true to the characters. It felt very calm. I mean, it felt like we weren't trying to force anything. It just, yeah.
And that's also a very physical scene.
Yeah.
It's a very, very physical scene. Like, you know, we are holding each other. We are dancing. What you can't, which is such a wonderful thing about being an actor, when you're physically you are communicating so much in a touch that you'll never see on screen. Do you know what I mean? Except for hopefully in what the camera can capture on the face or in the gestalt of the body. But it is again another very physical scene.
And what do you think of the very final scene on the bridge, when you walk away and you turn back and we are left in suspense? What do you think happens immediately afterwards? Who wants to answer that?
I mean, I feel like they both walk away. I think in that turning around is for Villanelle, she wants that confirmation to see Eve turning around and looking at her. I think initially, I think they both walk away. Who knows, season 4 as a whole, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But I think in that moment, there is that turn, and I think they both walk away, and then who knows? But I think they walk away in that moment, and that sits as that moment.